How's it going, guys? Welcome back to TheBlueShifting and welcome back to SeaBed. Last time was confusing. I'm not really sure what to make of it, honestly. Like, in our tips, we have this, like, weird world where, like, we have people, like, disappearing, reappearing. We have books that are disappearing, reappearing, or going blank. We also have, like it's in the, like a lot of it was taking place in the clinic, but for some reason, Dr. Narasaki, who were like, you know, seeing through the eyes of, at least I think that's who we're seeing through the eyes of, can't get out. Like, literally can't leave the clinic for any reason. So, what's that about? Is she crazy too? I don't know. But then we descended into Takako's memories, which is what we're doing here. It looks like they're visiting New York City, which is actually somewhere I need to go. I am now within striking distance of New York City, so I need to go visit it sometime. So, hopefully soon, but just haven't done that quite yet. But real quick, right before we start, I want to go back to some of the comments last week. We're going to go back to Jake, as you, always a fine commenter as always. He says, many wonderful BGMs this episode, also good insights, such as those constellations. I wonder if you can see something that actually looked like this looked at the sky background. Crazy, I know. I'm guessing that there's still a little hint, nudge, it's an actual, like, accurate star field, which is awesome. However, I'm rusty on the southern hemisphere, gotta be honest. Like, it's one I don't really see. I don't think I've ever actually seen it, because I've always been in the northern hemisphere my whole life. And so while I studied it, and at one point I could have told you how to find all the constellations down there, I just don't know if I could. I'd have to practice. But then continuing on in the visual novel, it's fair to assume everything's on purpose. Even if you question a specific background, you can be sure that no matter what type it is there to fit that scene, the exact scene in question. And then regarding previous episodes, I can tell where you're coming from. Just wanted to make sure you don't get too hung up on tropes like Shizi Yandere. There's no archetypes in this VN. Everyone's complicated. True. I'm glad you brought that up last time and this time. Very human feeling. Very realistic slice of life type of series. This anime I want to talk about. This visual novel. Would make an interesting anime, to be fair. But I don't know. I think it'd break too many brains. And then you round it off with, it's so good, can't wait for the next one. Well, excellent. Let's see what happens. Let's get right into it, actually. So let's dive in. I stopped the car and stepped out onto the cape stretching into the sea. Only a low fence, its wood mostly rotted away, separated me from the water below. I came close to look at the huge bridge, partially obscured by the mist. I could see the port town beyond the dark sea. The cables holding up the bridge glowed gently between the dark night in the sky and the boundless black sea. Countless lights also sparkled in the direction of the city. Okay, I think this is Takako speaking. I'm going to assume that. This is bright enough to be seen from space, I bet. I'm sorry. I definitely have a cold or something, so I'm like, forgive me. Ugh, excuse me. More than anything, that example makes me think that the TV show about the squid fishing. Hey, do you think that bright area on the brink was where the crab sign was? I pointed at the brightest part of the port town. They have night tours too, so it's highly possible. I wonder where the cable cars are. They go straight down to the waterfront, so probably around there. Sachiko leaned against the fence with one hand and pointed at the lights in the distance with the other. She seems so much bolder in these memories than I remember. She slowly trailed her finger along the slope. A gust of cold wind swept across the cape, making me shiver. I let out a sneeze. It's you! It's pretty cold by the sea at night, isn't it? Why didn't you bring your jacket? Sachiko took out a thermos bottle and filled its cap with some hot coffee. It's always coffee. Always coffee. I sipped it slowly as not to get burned, feeling its bitter taste and heat warming my chest from the inside. I'm all warmed up now. Just don't catch a cold out here. I won't. Do you want some, Sachiko? I extended half full cup to her. No. Okay then. I finished the coffee and handed her back the thermos bottle cap. She shook it up and down a few times to dispose of any remaining liquid, then fastened it to the bottle. I should have brought my camera. Is it in the car? I think I left it at the hotel. Too bad. Oh boy, I really want this picture with you. I shaped my fingers into a picture frame and directed it at Sachiko, who placed her hand on her hip and made a pose. Yet this doesn't seem like the Sachiko that we really are familiar with, does it? Like, it's almost like a different Sachiko. Burn this into your retinas while you can. Will do. Did that picture come out well? Extremely. Aw, that's cute. Glad to hear it. But I need something more impact to make sure I never forget this. Oh boy, here we go. I leaned in close to her. She too turned her face to me. Well, I mean, aw, that's really cute actually. Might as well. Aww. We haven't seen good Takako Sachiko action in a while. I wrapped my arms around Sachiko's waist and pressed it against hers. Her long hair brushed against my hand. The scenery here is definitely something you wouldn't forget. I'm glad we came. Yeah. Makes me wonder how many of the people over there are even aware of the beauty of this town. I imagine it's not many. Aw, that's cute. If that's the whole memory, that's really short. I'm used to them. Aw, man. I should have just done it last episode. I was worried about going in like really long. But they used to be freaking humongous. Alright. Back to Takako, I'm guessing. Oh my gosh, another tips. Oh my gosh, 3 tips. Well, if these tips are anything like that, I mean, maybe, okay, that's the other thing too. Maybe the tips have also seemed to be getting shorter as well. Well, guess what we're doing now? Let's get to a good saving point and we're jumping right into the tips. And then we're back to Takako. Okay, up. Now we save, because we need to do all the darn tips. That's okay. I'm curious to see what they are, because like they're really important. I keep hearing that they're important, so let's get right to it. And it looks like it's somewhere different too. I to be fair, I'm kind of kicking myself because I didn't really truly internalize anything beyond that they were tips. I started thinking right away, but it should be easy to find them. They had something to do with like fruit or nuts or something. All right, to the tips. Yeah, I definitely should have played a little longer last time. But, you know, that's the whole thing. This is a blind playthrough. So it's like, this is the way it goes. So, tips 3 memories. We have flower petal, apricot, water game. Okay, so these are probably like more childhood memories. Starting with flower petal. Alright. I washed my face in the sink. Its cold touch bit into my skin, helping me wake up. A single flower petal circled in the whirlpool created by the drain. I scooped it out. I looked at it in the mirror and realized that there was an empty vase in front of it. I placed the flower petal by it and wiped my face with a nearby towel. I brushed my hair, changed into a fresh set of clothes, and left the room. Who is this? Because these are memories. Was that the whole thing? What? What? This game is ridiculous. What's happening? So, flower petal next to an empty vase in the bathroom. Now go to apricot. I just don't even know what to expect anymore. All my notions of what this is just going out the window. Now we're in New York again, it looks like. Ooh. A waiter in a monochrome uniform came over to my table, so I broke my gaze from the red flower in the vase. He showed me the bottle I'd ordered. Okay, so now we're having some, like, this is another vase, but this one has a flower in it. The attire reminded me of those models of foreigners they had in Western apparel stores. When I nodded, he placed 2 glasses on the table, filling them with drink. Both glasses seemed to contain the exact same amount of liquid, almost as if he had some volume calculator in his hands. Saying nothing else, the waiter left. Okay. Is that an apricot at the bottom? That was a little too high, sorry. Is that an apricot at the bottom? Sachiko asked. She was sitting in front of me. So this must be, Oh, shoot. I'm an idiot. I read that as Takako. I read Sachiko 3 times and said it was What is wrong with me? What is happening? Let's rewind to that a bit. Is that an apricot at the bottom? Sachiko asked. She was sitting in front of me. There's a large apricot at the bottom of the bottle. I nodded. This one is distilled from fermented fruit. It's pretty strong, said Sachiko as she read the label. I hear it's supposed to be sweet, so it should be easy to drink despite the strength. You've never had it before? A friend from Serbia recommended it to me when I mentioned umeshu to him. He said it had a sweet alcohol there as well. Apparently, it's popular in the Balkans. According to him, almost everyone had the homemade stash of it in their house. What if this wasn't Takako? What if it was this Nanae? I got interested, but never had the chance to try it. Until now. I didn't know you were knowledgeable about alcohol. I'm not. I just drink what people recommend to me from time to time. Admittedly, though, there are a few things better in life than having a delicious meal and a good drink to go with it. I took a sip from the drink before Sachiko. Just like I'd heard, it passed through my throat like water, leaving only a fruity sweetness and a strong alcoholic warmth. It was just the kind of taste I liked. It just might be a bit hotter in the throat than I thought, I warned Sachiko as she was about to tilt her glass. Sachiko took a small sip, only about 1/5 of the glass. It is pretty easy to drink. She placed the glass back on the table. I felt some warmth rush to my head as I finished a glass, prompting me to order something for dessert. I wouldn't usually get drunk this fast. I didn't know whether it was because I hadn't drunk in a while, or if it was simply exhaustion from work, but I figured it was a good place to stop. Okay, so... Oh, hang on. Oh, then this is Narasaki. Because the clinic. I can't see our office from here. What about your clinic? Sachiko's gaze was fixed on the panorama of the city beyond the window. Countless streetlights flickered in the distance, making the contours of the city a little difficult to make out from the bar on the 31st floor. I'm not sure. I could probably tell if it was bright outside. I looked back at Sachiko. Her eyes were still fixed on the nighttime cityscape. Her long black hair fell on her ears when she tilted her head, hiding them from sight. Would you like another round? I asked when I noticed her glass was empty. Just one more then, she replied. Sachiko picked up the glass I filled for her and took a small sip. I don't usually drink much, but I like this, and the food was pretty good too. I better write down the name of this place. I nodded. They've got exotic drinks, good offer good snacks to go along with them, and the view is fantastic. What more could a girl want? It's just the kind of place I've been looking for lately. I can't imagine you going to a bar alone, though. Yeah, guess you have a point there, said Sachiko. When it comes to this place, I usually reserve a bottle or two in advance, so feel free to join me if you ever feel like it. That sounds almost a little too nice. Or is this part of the treatment, too? Perhaps. I made a thoughtful gesture. Sachiko slightly tilted her head to the side. Why did you choose this line of work, Narasaki? I wanted to be a doctor ever since I was a kid. I forgot why, though. Wasn't it difficult to get there, though? I imagine you had to study a lot. I don't think I feel as strongly about personal preferences as the average person. I never considered studying to be particularly boring, nor did I ever feel like doing so. I liked doing anything else. Maybe my own insensitivity is what made me want to learn more about how the minds of others worked. Sachiko's eyes grew incredulous for a moment, then wandered to my empty glass. I think I've had enough for the night, I said, and changed the subject back by asking if she was enjoying her current job. After that, we spent some time discussing work. Okay. So, it seems like this is a glimpse into the future after her stay at the hotel, and they seem to both be doing okay. Just reading lines wrong and not understanding who anyone is. Alright, water game. Last one and we jump right back into the main game. Once we paid our bill, we stepped outside to the cold night air. So I'm guessing this is Narasaki again. I noticed Sachiko staggering while I was adjusting my position from the position of my scarf. I clasped her arm out of reflex. Was that a bit too much for you? No, I'm fine. I didn't realize how hot it was until I got outside. But I'm okay now. It was close to midnight, but the neon signs all around us made the night hardly any darker than the middle of the day. As we were passing by the park near the station, we spotted a fully decorated Christmas tree. They're getting a bit ahead of themselves, aren't they? I remember seeing Halloween decorations here just a few weeks ago. It's nice to have something to look forward to. Something to look forward to, huh? After that, we passed through the station gates and ascended near the train platform. Yeah, we're Halloween approaching now, and then I'm sure it'll be Christmas trees, right? Pretty much the day after. There weren't that many people at this hour. Sachiko's scarf hid half her face, but I could still see her exhaling white breaths. Do you remember all your Christmas presents from previous years? Not really. I remember getting lots of clothes when I was little, though. Oh, really? What kind? I recall a frilly skirt, some dress with tons of ribbons. I wanted more clothes than were easy to move in. I wanted more clothes that were easy to move in, like the ones Takako used to wear, so I remember not being very happy with my presents. Parents probably wanted you to grow up into the kind of lady these clothes would fit. Sachiko's cloudy expression suddenly cleared up. One time, I remember getting a weird toy from Takako. It was a small transparent box with water where you had to get the rings on the big coral by pushing the button that created a stream inside and swept everything around. Yep, played those before, and those were in that scene in the one of those toys was in the room that Sachiko has at the hotel, which is interesting. Oh, I know that one. I've seen something like that at my hairdresser's. Sachiko nodded. Now that you mention it, I do recall spotting them in a number of barbershops. It's a great time killer. Kind of like puzzle rings or journals. I tried recalling more details about the toy as the train passed by us on the opposite lane, but couldn't remember much besides the fact that it was there. They were everywhere. I wonder if the union recommended them or something. I think it was just a fad. Lots of oddities were popular back then. I don't know who's saying what. A fad. Was there anything else like it? Well, there was a spring that could climb down the stairs and a fishing game where the fish would keep opening and closing their mouths, and all sorts of driving games that came with actual wheels and gears. I also remember a flower that would react to sounds. I remember literally all of those. I've seen all of those in one form or another, especially Slinkies and the fish where they open and close their mouth and have like little magnets inside and you fish them out. Those are all toys. I like them. Some people call me childish because of that, but I don't care. I know all the ones you listed, by the way. Be careful with that. People will find out how old you are. Aw, I don't mind. And it makes me happy to remember those things. I see. I've always made fun of fads, but it's nice to share a memory with someone. You don't see that many crazy fads these days. Now that you mention it, I don't know, I'd call memes crazy fads. What do you think that is? There's a huge variety of toys nowadays, so people usually just get the ones they like and ignore the others. I glance up at the electric board one more time and check the schedule for time for the arrival of our train. Also, I remember, do you remember Silly Bands? Silly Bands were like everywhere for a couple years there. And then the most recent one was the fidget spinners. Those things would never, I thought they'd never die. Sachiko regarded the lane with drowsy eyes. But considering your line of work, wouldn't you know more about fads than me? I suppose so. And what you say is basically how I felt as well. Most of our work consists of making ads for products, and most of them are geared towards a specific group of people. Usual designs that stand out tend to be more popular at first compared to traditional ones, but they go out of style sooner. It's become harder and harder to make something that would appeal to everyone. I see. I saw the lights of the train appear at the end of the lane. Have you ever considered how to increase all of these material things that have served as distractions led to a deterioration of our imagination? I might have. I see you're past your prime. What? Why? That didn't sound like you at all. Really? The old you would have said something along the lines of, so what? Maybe I'm just drunk. Maybe you are. The train stopped in front of us and opened its doors. Sachiko had her eyes closed, staying silent for the most of the trip. I decided to escort her to the entrance of her apartment as we reached the station nearest her home. Naturally, Sachiko refused at first, but I wouldn't relent. Good. Drunk friends are best to escort. You don't want them to accidentally have an issue. I mean, granted, maybe they'd probably be fine, but it's just better to be safe than sorry. After seeing her off, I considered walking to the clinic instead of taking the train again. I passed a few creepy alleyways along the way and arrived at the clinic in just under 30 minutes. I unlocked the outside doors and entered the dark corridor. I continued down to the night duty room with confident steps. It was pitch dark inside the room, but I knew every single nook and cranny of the place, so it posed no problem. I unfastened my hair, washed my face, got changed, and lay down on my futon. Lying on my back, I adjusted the height of the pillow and closed my eyes. I wonder if the pedal in the first memory was hers, from this part, where she unfastened her hair, washed her face, got changed, and like that seems very similar. Thought about what I discussed with Sachiko. Then I remembered a patient that used to frequent this place. The way Sachiko acted today reminded me of that same patient. Huh. Who could that have been? Wouldn't that be crazy if that was Takako? Good grief. Well, that told me nothing. I don't know. I don't know what to make about it. It's just a thing. I have a headache. This game, there's one downside for it being like right before like I do it on a Friday, like right before the weekend. My brain is just shot. Like I just can't think, and so I just do stupid theories in this one. But there's not much more I can do about it, man. I don't know what else I can really talk about with this because it's like. I feel like we just don't get enough information to truly speculate beyond wild, crazy theories. And they all sound like insane rambling. Anyway, soft footsteps reverberate between the corridor's walls as my heels slip out of their slippers and hit against the floor with every step. The sound disappeared as I slowed my pace. The sun was still very high in the west sky. A long ridge extended in the background of the westward. The sky, its hue a warm mixture of yellow, crimson, and purple, stretched above it. It was still relatively bright outside. This is the time when the interior lights would begin to flicker on. As I observed the patterns on the artificial light cast on the windowsill, I tried humming a tune I'd heard in the shopping district with Mayuko, but I couldn't remember the melody. In the end, it came out as a bit of a mess. I gave up and realized my heels were hitting against the floor again. I knocked on the night duty room's door. Mayuko. I like Mayuko. Mayuko! I opened the door to find the room dark and empty. Removing my slippers, I stepped inside and flipped the light switch. However, even after pulling the string dangling from above, the room remained dark. Huh. I flipped the switch on the wall again. This time the lights came on. Okay, that makes sense. Oh, great! I let out a sigh and continued to the kitchen while stretching my hands. I filled the kettle with water, placed it on the stove, and lit the flame below it. Then I rose on my tiptoes and opened the cabinet above me. After confirming its contents, I closed it back up. Next, I opened the cabinet located further into the kitchen. I took out a pack of sweet bean jelly from it. It seemed to have hardened over time. Ugh. Like I think we currently have a tub and Nutella it's just been on the shelf for a while, and like I think my wife got it down today, and it was a little like not bad, but on that little crusty kind of side where it's like dried out. I chopped it into smaller pieces and placed them all on a plate. I grabbed a pack of toothpicks from the shelf and stuck one into each piece. As I removed 2 teacups from the shelf and finished washing the knife, a continuous high-pitched sound began filling the room. I filled the teapot with green tea leaves and freshly boiled water and placed it on the tray right next to the teacups and pieces of hardened sweet bean jelly. Just as I finished parting the curtains and placing the tray on the table, something black abruptly passed through my field of vision. What the? Whoa! The tray clattered onto the table and I staggered backward a bit. Following the black thing with my gaze, I realized it was a butterfly that somehow found its way into the room. Isn't it supposed to be like middle of the winter right now? Oh, that's another good picture. And just how did you get in here? I glanced at the white flower face on the windowsill. The butterfly landed on the dried up camphor tree branch. I see. I took the notebook from the shelf. The butterfly passed right by my face again. I followed it with my gaze as it flew towards the ceiling, its black blue striped wings vigorously fluttering in the air. I sat down on the reddish-brown futon, placing the notebook on the table while resting my chin on my palm and continuing to observe the butterfly. Getting tired of it after a while, I opened the notebook. I realized I was beginning to treat it very carefully. After all, I knew it belonged to Sachiko. It almost felt like she was telling me about the past I'd forgotten. Okay, so now we're gonna do another memory, maybe? Man, this episode's all over the place. This notebook has something in it. September 22nd, 1975. The clouds that had been covering the sky since early morning had begun to shower the ground with the rain of noon. With rain come noon, forcing us to change our plans of playing outside and instead settle for a game of musical chairs inside. The children circled around a bunch of chairs as a simple piano melody played in the room. As I failed to grab a chair in the first round, I was now watching them play from the sidelines. That's the worst, being kicked out in the first round. Takako was still with the others, alert and ready for the song to stop playing at any second. She had a dead serious expression on her face, reminding me of the cowboys during quick draw scenes in western flicks. The music suddenly stopped. The children dashed for the chairs. Takako was the first to react and started toward the closest one, but due to her position, she was further away from either of the chairs than the children around her. Takako gave up on that chair to the left, seeing how a boy had almost already reached it. Instead, she twisted her body and leapt towards a chair on the right. She crashed into the shoulder of the boy who was about to sit down on it and swept him away before ultimately landing on the chair. Nice move. The chair tilted to the side of two of its legs, but Takako managed to balance it back down. That day marked her first ever victory in a game of musical chairs. Her eyes sparkling in triumph, Takako received the golden origami medal from the nurse. The nurse? Okay. So, they went to some kind of medical school? She spent the rest of the day with that thing dangling from her neck. Takako's mother was the first to show up when it was time for us to go home. Before leaving, Takako handed the medal to me. I watched it sparkle in the evening sun up until my parents came to pick me up. Interesting. Why was a nurse working at their school? It's weird. I felt a bit sleepy as I finished the short passage. The butterfly was still flapping its black wings, and now was flying in the direction of the closed window. I thought it would crash into the glass, but it slowed down just a few centimeters before that, and instead landed on the curtain. Tired? Or perhaps it was sulking at the fact I couldn't escape. Just chill a little. I'm tired too. Besides, it wouldn't be nice of you to leave without even saying a word to Mayuko, now would it? You see, in human society, debts need to be repaid, even if it's just food and shelter. Don't you think that should apply to butterflies as well? It seemed as though the insect had shaken its head, and its gaze fixed on the white vase. Specifically, the pupa still attached to the leaf of the camphor tree branch. Well, I guess your situation's a bit different. The butterfly remained still, seemingly considering my words. Perhaps it really was sulking about not being able to go outside. But why did I assume it wanted to go out there to begin with? I gave it another scrutinizing look. Well, I can understand how you feel. I imagine it feels a lot better to fly in a wide open space while surrounded by fresh air. There are flowers and honey you can eat, and if you're lucky, you might even find someone to have children with. The butterfly slowly spread its wing as if trying to say they didn't need to state the obvious. But it's not all fun and games outside. If you're unlucky, you might get eaten by a bird or get trapped by a web of a spider. If it rains, your wings will get moist and you'll have trouble flying. You'll face no such dangers in here. The butterfly remained still with its wings spread. Perhaps it was thinking. Or maybe the way it showed off the blue lines on its wings meant to convey agreement. I'll bring you a fresh flower if you stay. That's the least I can do. The butterfly slowly closed its wings. Or would you rather go outside after all? It spread its wings again. I thought I gave it a pretty good idea. I thought I gave it a pretty good deal, but the butterfly didn't seem all too fond of it. Okay then, but you'll still have to wait until Mayuko comes back. I glanced out the window. The evening sky with the hues of yellow, crimson, and purple mixing into the canvas loomed above the gentle mountain ridge in the distance. I'm sure she'll be back before dark. I placed one of my hands in the notebook and rested my chin on the other. Humans tend to stay with each other, but what about butterflies? I returned my gaze to the butterfly. Maybe you'll change your mind come morning. Tanae said that it gets comfortable staying in the same place once you get used to it. Huh. The butterfly remained completely still with its wings spread. Perhaps it was waiting for the window to open. It seemed like it wanted to soar the high skies. I remember how I listened to Sanae to a fish. I likened Sanae to a fish before drifting off to sleep once. Although fish swim in the sea, while butterflies soar through the sky. Besides, back then I was thinking about which place Sanae had adapted to rather than where she wanted to be. That's kind of silly. I remember how she asked me if I wanted to leave. It was nice to eat snacks with Mayuko, read books with Sanae, and make fun of Kozuo from time to time. The Christmas party had turned into a fond memory. If I kept arranging events like that from time to time, I figured I'd never feel bored. It was certainly satisfying enough with the place to recommend it to the butterfly. Sanae said that she lost any reason to go outside. I felt like I could understand what she meant now, more than back then. I touched my ears. Maybe I'd soon be able to breathe underwater as well. I felt like if I would remain in this place a while longer, I'd turn into a fish, not a butterfly. I was slowly getting used to the serene life in here. That much was certain. Was that a good or a bad thing? That's actually a good question. I don't know whether I wanted to stay here or leave. No wonder I couldn't understand the butterfly. I stayed still with its wings spread out. I fell in thought, gazing at its dazzling blue stripes on them. Staying here would be the easiest choice, but it would require a little effort on my part and contain no risks. But I looked at the darkening sky, feeling my head grow heavy. I raised my chin from my palms, lowering my hands to the table, and instead placed my left cheek on them. Finally, I dug my fingers into my hair to support my head. This position was the result of many years of experimenting and research. It served me well in my school years, and continued to be used even after I joined society as a working adult. That's actually pretty freaking impressive. I tend to just do the arm, like lay on the arm with my forehead, like on the side, and pass out. I did a kind of a study missionary trip for 2 years, and I kind of had to learn how to fall asleep in really uncomfortable beds and even on hard surfaces. I combined that with raising children. It often required me to like be in their room with them while I put them to bed, which meant like laying on the floor. I've gotten used to being able to sleep on some pretty normally uncomfortable positions. Not saying it's great and enjoyable all the time. I can just know that I wake up with some of the meanest knots in my back, but most of the time I can handle it. Though we have a very nice bed. Like we went to when we had the money, that was the first nice thing we bought for ourselves, was a nice mattress. You spend so much freaking time on your bed, like was it like an eighth of your life? Not even eighth, it's like a third of your life. You might as well get the best sleep you can get. Though it was easy on the neck and the arms, I would mess up my hair, so there's still some room for improvement. I closed my eyes, savoring the comfort it provided me. My exhausted body was on the verge of drifting off to sleep. However, much like last time, a butterfly and sonnet in the form of a fish appeared at my mind's eye. I can't believe I'm actually treating this butterfly's business so seriously. Perhaps I relaxed a bit too much. It wasn't like me to doubt myself or be tired to begin with. I felt like the sensation of the notebook's leather cover against my chin. The Takako I read about was always energetic and pursued her goals straight as an arrow. Her mind was always clear, and she always knew what she wanted. She might have been a bit of a dunce at times, but was always very endearing. Reading through the diary gradually made my memories return. It had things I'd forgotten, and things I didn't know at all. Those passages contained mere glimpses into my life, but remembering them brought back other memories as well. They made me recall certain episodes of my life in striking detail, right down to the various scents I experienced on a given day. Ooh, scent memory is really powerful. I'm sure I've shared this example before, but like my mom has a specific cookie recipe. I mean, it makes standard chocolate chip cookies, but something about it, like I know the smell from her making her cookies, and like it makes me want to die with happiness every time. And whenever I thought back to my feelings from those times, I'd feel a smoldering fire come back into deep within my heart. Sachiko brought back feelings of anxiety and uneasiness I had long forgotten. My memories of her warmed and brought the rusted mechanism of my heart back to life. Oh, that's kind of sad, but it's a good symbolism right there, but it's very sad. Almost like they were repairing the missing cogs of the contraption, returning them to their intended positions. And yet, this was but a small, insignificant agitation of my heart at best. It was no more significant an action than an ant climbing upon an elephant's back, or the faint ripples caused by the pebble thrown into the pool of water. If I closed the notebook, the feeling would vanish, as if I was never there to begin with. Sanai said that the more she got used to this place, the harder it became to leave. Back then, I didn't think much of it. Yet now, I couldn't tell whether that was a good or a bad thing. I put those two on imaginary scales. The arrow continued pointing at 0, refusing to move. But that wasn't enough of a reason to leave. I want to meet Sachiko one more time before I end up stuck here forever. I was sure that meeting her would help me remember everything, and would fix the ringing in my ears as well. Should I remain here or not? I might find the answer to that question if I met her. Ugh, what a troubling question. I have to see her. As I found myself lost in these thoughts, the fish and the butterfly slowly drew away from the back of my eyelids. So is she gonna run away? Like, I'm guessing they won't just let her leave. Ooh, that could be interesting. Ooh, that could be really interesting. Alright, let's go a little longer. Let's see what happens in this next scene. Wake up. My bedsheets got pulled away with a mysterious force. The warm morning sun burned my eyes. There's 5 more minutes! Your coffee will get cold. The hand I extended towards the source of the voice fell limp onto the bed. I can't fight gravity! Thinking that made me feel even weaker. My body's getting heavier and heavier! At this rate, I'll start to sink into the mattress and create a black hole, sucking in everything around me, light included. That's amazing. Why not pitch it to the physics conference? Anyway, quit goofing around and get up already. We're leaving as soon as you get dressed. I don't wanna... I reached out and pulled the first thing I grabbed to myself. Sachiko fell on top of me. I kinda thought it was Sachiko. Oh my goodness. Ah, hello, YouTube, don't look. Opening my eyelids, I saw her black eyes staring back at me. I raised my neck slightly and kissed her lips. I was once again blinded by the light as she pulled her head, and thus her curtain of dark hair, away from me. A moment later, she hurled her hand back at my face. Why? They say this helps people with low blood pressure. Then get out of bed. They say this helps people with low blood pressure. Then get out of bed already. Okay. Jeez, that was cute. I saw her climbed out of bed and got changed. I handed her the bag resting on my knees. Your fried eggs are on the table. I love you, Sachiko. Yeah, great. Oh, come on. Sachiko left the room. I jumped out of bed, stepped onto the corridor. Oh, wow. They're getting ready for work, I'm guessing? Hold this for me. Sachiko handed me her bag again. She then bent her knee and leaned down, letting the slit of her skirt reveal her thighs. Her long eyebrows painted beautiful half arcs over her lower face, on her lowered face. Her long flowing hair slipped down her shoulders, prompting Sachiko to try and pin it down next to her ear. Thanks. She raised her face and smiled at me as she finished putting on her shoes. My vision began to clear up, dispelling my prior drowsiness. I woke up with such a keen senses that I felt I could hear the very blood pumping through my veins. Oh, that was very sweet. That was just like a typical morning. That's awesome. It's kind of sad though. I raised my face and rubbed my eyes, only to realize that the blanket slid down from my shoulders. I saw Mayuko sitting in front of me, sipping tea from one of the cups I brought over. It's probably cold by now. Was I sleeping? You were. I see. You've got a mark here. Mayuko pointed at her cheek. I rubbed my cheek with one hand and brushed my mouth with my knuckles. You were sleeping like a baby. You could have woken me up instead of staring, you know. I was worried you'd be angry if I interrupted a nice dream. I wouldn't get angry over something like that. I told her she was free to wake me up next time. I looked around the room. It had already grown dark outside. The sweet bean jelly plate was covered up by a blue sheet and white dots. I picked up the teacup and took a sip of the cold tea. I glanced up at the ceiling, but the black butterfly from before was nowhere to be seen. A white vase with an empty pupa rested on the windowsill by the open window. Did the butterfly leave? It flew off towards the mountains as soon as I opened the window. I see. So it was courteous enough to wait for you, at least. Mayuko gave me a puzzled look. I wonder what kind of species it was. I think it was a common bluebottle. So that's what they were called. I spotted them around here from time to time. They're found all across Japan. Depending on the season, you might catch a glimpse of them in Tohoku, or even Kyushu. Gosh darn it. I know I can read the Romaji. I know. You seem to know a lot about them. It's a species I'm particularly fond of. I mean, just look at how beautiful their blue stripes are. They definitely are pretty butterflies. Like, I'm not much of a butterfly watcher or anything, but I've always admired how butterfly wings look, and the blue bottles are pretty good. I grew up with lots of monarchs. They're very common around here. But yeah, I'd love to go see other countries and go. Like, there's just all those little things that, like, you never really think of, like, experiencing when you go and visit places far away. But just the different, like, ecology and culture, and even something as simple as like driving through farms. Like, I grew up around potato fields, potatoes and corn, and I guess wheat. Like, that was pretty common too. But like, I've never seen fields of rice. I've never seen fields of rice before. That's what I'd probably see a lot of if I went to Japan or Taiwan or China. Like, I want to travel. I want to travel. Mayuko smiled. I nodded. I like the blue color too. I remember spending an entire day chasing after one with an insect net when I was little. It flew off the other side of the river though, so I ended up never catching it. I'm sure it was for the best for the butterfly, at least. You don't think about these things too deeply when you're little. I just remember that I really wanted it because it looked different from the swallowtail butterflies I was used to seeing. I actually spent a couple of years after that thinking I still wanted to get my hands on one. Sure she did. So how did it feel to finally succeed? I was glad to see it from up close. For a moment it felt like a child again. And that made you sniff out my sweet bean jelly I've been keeping for a later date? She pierced a piece of the jelly with a toothpick. I did that before finding the butterfly. Then I imagined there was little need for the butterfly to make you feel that way. I smiled as she gave me a reprimanding look. Well, it's alright, but there are some confectionaries I'm keeping for guests, so please ask before you take something next time, okay? Okay. You seem to be in good spirits lately. Oh yeah! I've had no fits since the last one. If you're feeling that well, then perhaps I should assign you more duties. This is weird. I suddenly feel very sick. Good grief. Takako. I yawned and took another sip of tea. Are you still sleepy? Mayuko smiled after eating a piece of jelly. Can't say I'm fully rested, to be honest. And I had a dream, too. You were talking in your sleep. Really? What kind of dream did you have? It was from the time I was living with Sachiko. Mostly just dull little things like frying eggs in the morning or seeing her off at the entrance as she left for work. I tried remembering more, but by the time I woke up, the whole thing had slowly melted away like sugar in warm water. So, she's the one you live together with? As I answered with a quick, yep, Mayuko seemed to fall into thought for a moment. Ooh, interesting. Do you still love her? I don't know. I loved her more than life itself before we separated. But we're not together anymore. I can't tell when she's not around. I see. Mayuko appeared to have fallen in thought again. Curious to learn what she was thinking, I strained my ears, almost expecting to hear her thoughts. I picked up a teacup and pretended like I was inspecting its bottom. I felt like I could hear the flapping of the butterfly's wings. I stole a glance at Miyuko's face. She looked back at me, her eyes a bit narrower than usual. I wish it was a look of jealousy, or merely an attempt to read my expression. Unfortunately, it was nothing so lighthearted. It was the look of someone cornered by something. She looked just like Sachiko, but she wanted to discuss something serious. What if she were Sachiko the whole time? Oh, that'd be so sad. Like, I don't know why she would do that though. Like, it doesn't make any sense. But that would be really sad. Like, being right next to someone who you really cared for, but like not able to tell them who you were for whatever reason. In moments like that, I too would take care to watch what I'd say. Sachiko would always wait until I found the right words, no matter how long it took. It's gotten pretty cold, hasn't it? Said Mayuko after a long silence. I'm wondering also, like, my other thought is that maybe in this timeline, Sachiko's the one that died, and that Takako's forgotten it. And so, like, part of her wants to tell her what happened, like, the truth, but the other part of her just doesn't want to do that. Like a fish leaping out from beneath a calm, mirror-like surface of the lake. Mayuko stood up, walked to the corner of the room, and flipped the switch to the electric heater. Its two pipes lit up in red. After confirming the amount of remaining water was on the panel, she walked to the kitchen and returned with a cup, the contents of which she poured into the tank. I thought about Sachiko as I observed her. I spent most of my life with her. I tried remembering the exact number of years. I met her 23 years ago. I can still remember that quite vividly. The moment I met her near that sandbox when I was just 5, and when we finally separated. Okay, so 23 years to 5. Holy crap, she's 28. That's like exactly as old as I am. Oh man. Talk about relatable. When we separated, I tried remembering how exactly that went down. I couldn't recall a single detail about it. It was like all my thoughts led me to a blinding white room. But she still was someone I spent most of my life with. That alone was definitely true. And the diary had now proved it. In all the entries, I was always by her side. The more I thought about it, the less I could understand why we ended up parting ways. Oh man, I wonder if we're ever gonna find that out. I don't know! I guess I should grab the camera and shake it when I do that because I'm like, ah! Oh, that's Sanae. No, Kozuha. What am I saying? Sanae is the other girl. Gosh darn it. Anyway, I think it's a good place to stop here. Let's see what happens next. Like I said, I really do enjoy the Takako parts a lot. I don't know, being in her mind is so fun because she's so upbeat about everything. It's really pleasant to hear her thoughts on stuff. Sachiko's tends to be kind of depressing. And those tips just make my head hurt. So, I'm really enjoying the Takako parts. Man, I do wonder. Like, their relationship seems so good. I really wonder what happened, at least in Takako's memory, like what separated them. Because we know Sachiko's memory was that she died. And then she just tried to bury it. I'm guessing it's probably the same in this realm too, whatever this is, but I don't know. It just seems odd. But yeah, anyway. I'll save that for next time, hopefully. But thank you guys so much for being here today. Thank you so much for joining me for all these wonderful moments. We got to see a lot of Takako Sachiko love, and that's always fun. So, I'm guessing we're going to have some kind of reveal coming up soon because they're kind of hammering home that they really cared for each other. So maybe we're going to see some progress in some alternative relationships, for comparison's sake and all that, but we'll find out. But we'll find out next time. So until the next video you watch with me or whatever you see me in next, I'll see you there.